Hello, my fellow good-looking B&G Resis. Today we have a very special guest host with us. It's Conor. How's lockdown going for you, Con?
Hi, it's gone pretty swell. I made it onto the radio somehow, got scouted in my lockdown, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
As you should
launching
be.
my career in lockdown. Yeah, we're kicking goals, throwing frisbees.
Throwing frisbees. I love it.
Doing all the normal things.
Yeah, well, in today's episode, we're going to be discussing some cool, funny, embarrassing childhood stories. And I honestly
Emphasis on the embarrassing.
Emphasis on embarrassing. I could not think of anything at all that was like embarrassing that I still like keeps me awake to this day. Like that I did as a child. I have some horribly embarrassing teenager stories.
Definitely the teenage years are like all the cringe stored up into 6 beautiful pubescent years.
Yes. But I don't have any embarrassing childhood stories, but apparently you do, Conor.
Well, I think it's pretty expected that I would have some pretty golden ones. I mean, you don't get to this sort of iconic figure and not have some mild trauma along the way. Well, before we hear other people's, I presume, or however Paris edits this, but I wanted to share one. So it was at a scout camp, obviously, shenanigans prevail on those things, but it went from I was 12, but it went over to my 13th birthday, and it was sort of like a driving holiday. So they like lug us into the back of these like troopies, so like cars, and they can fit like 8 people in the back, and it's pretty much a huge party the whole time. You're just gas bagging and listening to. That's where I got introduced to the nosebleed section. Anyway, excellent song. Very good song. But it was, we were running a bit behind, so we had to drive over the night before my 13th birthday, and I really needed to pee because we've been driving like all night. I can see Paris's face. She already thinks that, you know, peeing's involved. It's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah, the moment a bladder is introduced into the story, I'm like, this is going to be great.
Literally. So yeah, I'm in the back of this car. We're all squashed in like sardines. I'm like, I need to pee. I'm sure there's some other people that needed to pee, but we pull over, and it's like outback South Australia. So we've just pulled over on this dirt road, and they kind of just chuck us out, and they're like, yep, go pee. You've got like a few minutes. People stretch their legs, blah, blah, blah. So all around me, it's pretty sparse. Like I got not much to pick from. So they're like these little shrubs that are just very interspersed.
Oh my gosh, Conor, I remember this story.
Oh really? I've told you?
Wow. To me before. You said shrubs, and I was like, I know exactly what's about to happen. Oh, this is brilliant.
I have a lot of embarrassing pee stories. I think this will have to be a regular segment. But, yeah, so they probably go up to like our waist, so maybe a meter or less, but I'd go into one like 10, 15 meters away. Like I've done the polite thing, and I'm squatting, peeing, obviously not my finest moment, but it's on my birthday, right? So it's probably like 12:30, 1 a.m. I'm a fresh young adult, 13, getting into the high numbers now. Yeah, and so my best friend at the time, her dad was one of the drivers of aforementioned troopies, and he decides to put on the high beams, like pull the car around with like 8 of my close friends in the back, and like high beams me in this bush. And this quite funny, like quite a class clown vibe sort of kid like yells out of the window. He's like, is there someone in there, like in the bushes? And I'm like, can already feel my face going red, like, oh no, like what's gonna happen? Like, please no. And then he's like, is that Conor? And then everyone's like obviously craning around trying to see, like, and then I'm just imagining everyone laughing, and I'm embarrassed because I've tried my hardest to give myself some privacy. But yeah, and then I've got like 10 people looking at me peeing on in the the literal wee hours of my 13th birthday.
Oh no. That's
But yeah, and so then I tried to finish as quickly as possible, obviously, and scurried back to my car, which was luckily not that one. But something in that, my friend's dad's mind thought that would be hilarious. But what an initiation into the teen years.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's
scarring.
I feel like, yeah, it was one of those moments though where like, obviously it hasn't done that much damage because I still do very similar things. Like Dan Harvey will let you know that on mock 2 for IB preparation last year, because obviously they like kick us out of the cars and then you're very disoriented, you're trying to be time efficient. I, in my confusion, didn't know where like the side of the road was or like where no one else would be. And so I like just pretty much dropped my ducks behind this like only tree that I could see. And it turned out it was like right in the middle of everything. But essentially the moral of the story is I can try my hardest, but something draws me into being within eye distance of people.
That is beautiful. That is a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing. We have some really good stories as well that people have written for us. And I did take a bit of a cheeky peek, but they are golden, Connor. They are so good.
I literally can't wait. I reckon this is the best part about having a pool of 500 people. You just get the pinnacle. It's like the equivalent of having call-ins on a radio show. It's only the people that think they're the best of the best.
Exactly. We have like this one here from Lilia. From Lila Piper. Apparently when she was around 3 or 4, she got jealous of the attention that Maddie McCann was getting after being kidnapped in 2007. And
no.
I know. And so she hid in the back of her dad's car for a whole day and night.
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, when you said Lilia, I was like, yeah, no doubt Lilia would have an excellent childhood story.
Excellent story.
But second of all, I have so many questions. So how did she get found? Like, what made her come out, whether she was found or not?
I know, like, my question was like, was she comfortable? Did she have
how'd she get into the car?
My question was, what were her parents up to? Did her parents know that she was there the whole time? We're just like, yeah, Lilia's just off doing her own thing.
Yeah, see how obvious was she? Such a good question. Like, when did she sneak in there? I wonder if her parents saw. I wonder if her sister saw. I'd love to know the practical application.
I want to see like a cinematic run through of this day.
Yeah, hey, this is a call out, Lilia at Lila Piper. We would love to see a video rendition of this to accompany our radio.
If you can send one in, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's how you get the participant interaction.
This next one's from Ollie Tut, which genuinely I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when I read this. But she got arrested when she was 9 in France.
Okay, wow, this really makes me feel terrible.
It's a good starter for a story, for sure. She was in Paris with her mum and dad.
Okay, first of all, should we take a pause to guess what she was arrested for?
Do you want to guess?
I just, okay, how would a 9-year-old get arrested? I want to say, so it was in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say there was either a famous monument involved, because that's the only time I would think that, you know, a 9-year-old would be tackled to the ground, or not metaphorically in a sense. Although, you know, we're not going to get into the history of cops, but, you know, that's a separate radio segment. But or maybe she stole a very expensive blue cheese. Those are the two. Ooh. Or maybe she jumped into the Seine. Ooh. Those are my 3 guesses. It's going to be
those
a
are
famous
really fun guesses.
Involved.
Wow.
I thought the people should know. I also want to give the people time to guess for themselves.
Yeah.
A little bit of mystery. Anyway,
well, you're right about the monument. They were in line at the Louvre.
Oh yeah.
Apparently about an hour before it opened. And so Ollie asked her parents if she could look around while they were waiting. And so she climbed up into the gutter between 2 of the glass pyramids and started walking along the edge of the big pyramid. And apparently this French police of the Louvre.
Incredible.
I know. I mean, that would be just, once in a lifetime experience, truly. So Ollie, picture this, 9-year-old Ollie is climbing the side of the Louvre.
Incredible.
And then this French policewoman starts yelling at her. And so she climbs like back down and they put her in handcuffs and walk her over to the entry. I was reading this and I was like, oh my gosh.
That would be so, surely she's crying at this point.
Well, yeah, she's in tears.
Yeah.
And apparently they're just yelling at her in French.
That is the most stressful thing I can imagine. Literally, I think I would have died like ducks die of stress. I think my heart would just implode.
My heart would have just stopped beating right then and there. And they keep yelling at her, and then they let her go and crying back to her parents. And
did her parents even know then?
Pardon?
Surely, like, as in, did they know before that point? Like,
well, no, they've walked around the corner, I assume, and the parents have just seen Ollie in handcuffs.
Oh, so they did sort of see her half arrested?
I guess so.
Wow.
I assume so, but apparently her parents weren't all that happy with her either after running off. And
God, that's horrible.
But Ollie was saying, to be fair, I don't remember there being any signs saying you couldn't walk along the pyramids.
It's a very good point.
It's a very good point.
Astute of a 9-year-old to look around and even try and find any signs.
But apparently they have this very iconic photo of her in a very bad mood out the front of the Mona Lisa, which I think is beautiful.
That's incredible, especially because, when's the next time you're going to go see the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, and Ollie, please send me that photo. I must see it.
Yeah, the people need to know. I really think, that could be our thumbnail.
Yes. This next story is quite tragic, really, when I was reading it. So this is Josh Burgess, and
nice.
He was explaining how he went through a phase where he thought he was an actual wizard, which I think is not that unique. I totally went through that phase.
I was gonna say this is slightly separate, but I'm pretty sure I had a dream last night that I was like a witch, like witch and wizard.
Amazing.
Wow, that's crazy timing. But yes, please continue. It's so
funny,
fair.
yeah, because I was reading it and I was like, my mind's been nothing but Harry Potter recently. I just finished a Harry Potter marathon, watched all the movies. I've done my Pottermore quiz.
Oh my God, what house are you?
Guess.
I know that you're a Hufflepuff, like personality, but Pottermore lies. So I'm thinking maybe Slytherin, because I was a Slytherin.
I appreciate that, but I'm 100% Hufflepuff.
Yeah, of course.
Initially, I was so ashamed when I first got put in Hufflepuff that I deleted my account and recreated it so many times. I literally
did that, but I got Slytherin, and I didn't delete the account because I think I had all of my current progress on the first account, but then I did make a new account and did it again and picked, when you're doing like a quiz and there's like a couple options you're weighing up. I went back and did all of like my second sort of options, and I still got Slytherin.
What?
It was ridiculous, but then I did it with a friend and together we were Hufflepuff. But it's very interesting because Hufflepuff has been like gentrified in the last maybe 5 years.
I would say. I am so proud to be a Hufflepuff now.
That's what I mean. Like, you're allowed to be a Hufflepuff now. And Slytherin's on the rise too.
Cool. And everyone loves, I think all of the houses. I don't know, everything about Harry Potter, I just like it, except the author. Not a huge fan. But
very, very good. We have to make sure we put that term and condition in there. Yes, that's very important. We support J.K. Rowling's fictional work. We don't support her non-fictional writing, aka her tweets.
Yes. But so Josh went through this wizard phase. He sewed robes for himself and carved a wand out of an olive branch, which I think is the most beautiful thing. And I'm imagining little mini Josh.
How old was he? Did he say?
No, he didn't say, but young, I assume.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Not to offend Josh if this was last year. It happened. That's okay too. I would love to hear more about Josh carving his wand and robe. So
he sewed his own robes and carved his wand out of an olive branch and brought it to school. Incredible. He brought the wand to school, and then during the break, a teacher noticed him with it and informed him that they weren't allowed to play with sticks, and promptly snapped it and threw it off the balcony. And I read this. I think a single tear fell from my eye. And
Paris can attest, my mouth was wide open. That is horrifying. That's
It's so sad.
That's so excessive though. Do you know what I mean? Like that one probably wasn't super long. Why did it have to be snapped? They'd made their point by telling Josh off. Couldn't they have confiscated it? It's not like you confiscate a phone and break it.
Like, it's a stick. What is that?
I know. I understand not being able to play with sticks at school, because that's a rule that, and as you were telling the story, I did know that it would amount to something, but I did not expect the snapping, because I was too far.
That's so sad. It's so sad. But there was a learning experience from this, because Josh was explaining that day changed the way he saw authority figures forever, but it also taught him the value of friendship, because without questioning or even a hint of teasing from his friends comforted him after like that, and what was like a traumatic experience, really. Like that's so
really
sad. You put a lot of effort into something when you truly believe that something is real, and in a young kid's mind, for someone like an authority figure, particularly, and a teacher, someone who you respect, comes up and just breaks your wand, like
it's true. We've all had those horrible teachers in our lives, but that is just so unnecessary and a horrible use of power. Agreed. So, but I also have, maybe Josh can relate to this a little bit. Yeah, when I was 10, turning 11, as everyone who's ever read or watched Harry Potter knows, that's the time that a young witch or wizard will receive his or her, or they, because, you know, they didn't write that in the original, but it's true. They receive their letter from Hogwarts around this age. And I was going through my first Harry Potter phase, obviously extended for many years afterwards. But I received a letter from Hogwarts. It was in thick, beautiful, like parchment paper. It had a red seal on the front. It had my address beautifully cursive on the back. And it even said like second bedroom from the right above the stairs, like the whole thing. You know how Harry has, I know I was one of those kids. So yeah, he has like coming under the stairs. I had my bedroom second from the left, like right, whatever. And it was bittersweet, because, and I'm not gonna say that it wasn't from Hogwarts, but I did receive it on the 31st of July. And again, anyone knows that like by that time, Harry had received his letter. He was almost on his way there. And you know, my first thought was, well, where are my plane tickets? How am I gonna get there? I don't have any of my equipment. Where has Hagrid coming and storming down my door? Because clearly I'm not going to be ready in time. But yeah, so I mean, I can relate to that story, because although I didn't go to the personal effort, I did really appreciate having a piece of Harry Potter paraphernalia. And that's although beautiful. My brother across the last 10 years has tried to convince me it wasn't from Hogwarts, we're gonna stand up against the man, the metaphorical man. Yeah.
Who's to say you didn't go to Hogwarts?
I know, yeah, I was too good for them. I also received an offer from Durmstrang, so don't tell Dumbledore. No, I'm kidding.
I love that.
But yeah, it was really fun. I was a huge Harry Potter nerd. Still am.
Me too. So. I still am. I was sitting watching it, and I felt kind of bad. The people who I was watching it with in the house that I'm staying in, every 2 seconds I was like talking about, like mentioning some theory and conspiracy and fact about the movie, and they were just like, Paris, I just want to watch the movie. And I was like, but I have to tell you
literally
about this theory that Dumbledore is dead.
Yeah, I'm the person, no matter what TV show or movie it is, I will try and predict what the person will say next. Like, if I have any inkling of what they're going to say next, I will try and get it word for word, either before they say it or when they say it. Either way, it's just as annoying, but I've committed as that as part of my personality.
I love that. Okay, we've got one more story here, which is so wholesome. It's from Rosie Higgs. And I think, I remember her telling me this story on the way back from Bathurst. Were you there in the car when Rosie was telling us her story?
Maybe, but
the backstory.
We'll hear it again.
It's like she calls it her superhero origin story, which I think is very fitting.
I think I have a vague recollection. I would have been in the car. Well, it's debatable whether I was paying attention to the
You were
road.
driving, it was a long way.
I'm pretty sure I heard it, but please continue.
So basically in year 5, or maybe a little younger, her best friend's bike was stolen from outside the local bakery when they went in to buy snacks on a Friday afternoon. And so Rosie's bike was brand new, and her friend's bike was old and tiny, and they didn't lock up the bikes because they were little and thought it would be okay, like blissful ignorance of the evils of the world.
Protect them.
And coming out of the shop, it was only Rosie's brand new bike that was there. So her friend's bike had been stolen. And they saw some guys on the bike down the end of the street. And so Rosie got on her bike and chased the dude under the train line and around the little streets until they got to this really big road. And she asked for the bike back, but he said no and pretended to fight her or something.
Oh. How old? I want to know how old these people were. Surely, were they like teenagers?
I have no idea, actually. I imagine adults. I'm picturing grown adults. God.
Yeah, I was too, but then the fake fighting is a weird twist.
So she rode off to another friend's house that was really close, having not gotten the other bike back. And the friend who lost her bike showed up 30 minutes later with her own really, really cool story. So her friend had seen the bike thief go up to the train station, and she followed him. And then she asked for her bike back nicely, and she got it. So they reckon that this guy just could not deal with another encounter with an angry, crying 10-year-old asking for this bike back. And so,
that's so cute.
The moral of the story is do stupid stuff for your friends so you can have cool stories to tell.
I wonder what my superhero origin story would be.
Peeing in the bush.
I was born at the age of 13. I refuse to think back on anything before that. That was my finest moment.
I don't think I have a superhero origin story, but I think I have like a artsy performance origin story.
Yeah, that's good. That's like actually, Inside Out.
This is hugely embarrassing for me. This is an embarrassing story. So when I was
gotta spill the tea.
When I was about 10, I think between 10 and 12, I think. So old enough to know better and to do better. Really. I was on a holiday on a cruise boat, and in this holiday I was quite lonely, really. It was my brother, my mum, and myself. My brother ended up going to the like teenagers club thing that young kids like me couldn't go into, and then my mum was on the adult deck the whole time, so I was just left wandering the halls of this cruise boat, and I didn't know what to do. But so what ended up happening in my boredom and loneliness, I signed up for the cruise ship talent show.
Incredible.
And
this is so good.
Was obsessed, still am obsessed with like the musical Les Mis.
Oh yeah, very fair.
And was adamant. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sing the song on my own from the musical. It's called On My Own. And they had a band there that were like, we have this booklet of songs that you can perform for, and this band will be able to accompany you. And I was like, no, I really want to sing this particular song. And so I was like, I just sing it a cappella. So
hells yeah.
I didn't
That's
realize,
way more powerful.
I don't think I understood, I grasped the size of the audience. It was one of those nights, thousands of people were in the audience on the cruise boat.
Was it like a talent show that was supposed to be for adults and you just put your name in, or?
Well, no, but also I think they expected you to be good.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's gotta be a caveat.
And so I got up there and I was so nervous and I was singing and I had my heart out on my sleeve, really, performing this song. What I didn't realize is they had it professionally filmed and they would play the entire performance, all of the performances, on repeat in the televisions in everyone's bedroom.
Wait, what do you mean on repeat?
So they had a bunch of recordings of the performances. And they would on everyone's television, on the standardized television channels, they would play everyone's performances. And
so it was live to air, but would they also play it the next day too?
They would play it the next day and the day after and the day after and the day after. And I remember, like, I didn't realize that they recorded it, and I was sitting in the room and I just remember hearing it come on, and I was just like, oh, that was bad. That was really bad.
Do you like singing on my own now, or do you always get a bit of a
I do get a bit of a but I will still sing it. It's such a good song.
That's good. I'm glad it hasn't put you off Les Mis. That's cool. So after that traumatic experience, how did that lead to your blossoming and blooming as our arts rep and music composition?
You know what? I got off that stage and I thought, you know what? Arts rep doesn't sound that bad.
And that's when Paris started a 10-year campaign.
Exactly.
For 2021.
That's how it started. You know what? I could do this at Burton Garrett Hall at ANU.
As a 9-year-old, that's how you cemented your destiny.
Exactly. Anyway, thank you so much, Conor, for coming and chatting with me today. It's been an absolute joy having you here.
That's all right. It's been an absolute joy hearing your voice and seeing you again. Thank you so much for having me in the early episodes of this beautiful radio show.
Well, of course, there was no one else. Really.
I've got the face for radio. I've always wanted to say that on the radio.
Absolutely not. But to the rest of you B&G Resis out there, if you have any more radio ideas, then please send them through. I'd be more than willing to have you on as guest host. Anyway, B&G, stay safe, stay smiling, and that is a wrap.